I'm trying to remove this DEF injection nozzle from this catalytic converter. This is a 2016 model. It's been on a truck in northern Ohio for 3 years. Of course, this gets the salt and stuff from the front end and all the heat, so it's not coming off. I had sprayed it with WD-40, let it soak for a couple of days from the back. You can see the back of the bolt. It's not moving, so I'm going to put some heat on it and see what happens. Okay, so what I did is I put heat on this flange. I got it to glow red pretty quickly. I use propane and oxygen in my cutting torch. And the first step I'm going to try is let it cool. I'm going to try to get it hot and let it cool, because I believe if you have it cherry hot and you try to remove it, well, that may work in some cases, you run the risk of galling, especially with a stainless steel like we have. And it looks like a carbon steel. I don't know if that's a different stainless bolt, but I may look for a stainless bolt to put in there. So we'll see how it comes out. So on a small bolt like this, when you're removing it, it's hard to tell the difference between shearing torque and the bolt coming loose. So as it turns like this, you try to look in the back and see. I'm in bright sunlight, so it's hard to see, but I feel like I'm right at the shearing torque. But see, what I often do is I will reverse my ratchet and I'll go forward. And that way I know, I can feel the looseness, so I know I am loosening. However, there may be galling in there, so I just keep slowly going back and forth like that. And not crazy about WD-40, used it my whole life. PB Blaster, I don't know if there really is a product that works, or if you have time to let them work. So I'm going to do this off camera and get it out. So here we have this bolt out, and it looks pretty good. Occasionally you'll get some galling where the stainless steel thread will actually stick to this carbon steel bolt. So it doesn't really look like we got that, but I probably will look for a different bolt to go in there, because I don't like the way the head rusted away. So the other side here now, you can see that's eroded away a lot more. So what I've got here to try is I've got my 6-point, this is an old SK, it's a 6-point 9mm socket, and look at that, it almost fits on that. So I'm going to drive it on. If that doesn't work, I'll find another, probably a 12-point socket that I can drive on. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this mallet and I was tapping on the end of the bolt, just to drive, just to loosen that up, just to give it some vibration to loosen that up. Thought about using my my air impact driver, my impact cutter, but as I was driving on it, look what happened. Look at this shit. Okay, and that's with this one still intact, not turned. This is how these things are put together from the factory. So hopefully there's no galling. So there's obviously no tension on it. I just have to get the threads to come out of the stainless steel, and anybody that's worked with stainless steel knows it is a bugger. It loves to gall, it loves to connect. So I'm gonna first try and turn it a little bit without heat, and then if I put a little heat on it, I will let it cool. So let's see how it goes. So I just put the heat on it, and I really don't know what's in these things. Obviously to me, with an electrical connector here and a fluid injection over here, this is some kind of solenoid valve that opens. It'll open and close. The reason I'm taking this off is the person I got this from said the truck was using a lot of DEF fluid, and that's why he decided to take it off. So I'm going to take the one from my system and put on here. And my SCR is blocked and plugged, so it's going to be abandoned. So if I break the bolts off on mine, I don't care so much. This one, I want good thread. So when I tried to remove this bolt with no heat, I just didn't like the feel. You know, what are these 6mm bolts? I mean, they take a 10mm wrench, but they're like a 6mm diameter, like a 1/4-inch bolt. They're easy to shear off, real easy to shear off when they're stuck. So I'm going to let this cool, spray some WD-40 on it, let it soak in a little bit, and see if it'll come out like the other one. So I've let this cool a little bit. I keep dousing it with this. You can see it smokes. Still a few hundred degrees, but I keep dousing it with the WD-40, hoping it will wick up into the thread. So what I've done here is take my ratchet and take it in the off position, and then you can see it seems to go pretty easy and then stops. So I'll go just a little bit of a turn, and then I'll go back. Now obviously it's not shearing, but we don't know about galling. So by doing this back and forth movement like this, very minimally, we are either working the WD-40 into the connection so it can do its thing, or we are working the galling in through the thread. Either way, it's likely this is going to come off. So of course the alternative to this would be drilling this out, and since it's carbon steel, it would drill out and it might retap okay. But if you've dealt with stainless steel, you know that a big deal, it can drill very easily because it's soft. But if you spin your drill bit in the stainless, it will work harden to the point where you cannot drill it. So it's a big deal. And of course it may depend on what kind of stainless, 316, 40, whatever. But so we got this out. So on to the next thing.